the seeds of connection. The late afternoon sun bathed the rice paddies in golden light as Rohit Mehra wiped sweat from his brow. His calloused hands told stories of 15 years working this land, inherited from his father who had fallen ill 3 monsoons ago. At 32, Rohit's shoulders carried not just the responsibility of the 3-acre farm, but of his parents, younger sister, and the unspoken weight of being the village's unofficial problem solver. "Rohit ji, my cow is refusing to stand again," called Sunita Devi, an elderly widow whose livelihood depended on her single dairy cow. Rohit smiled, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "I'll come by after I finish here, Sunita ji. Give me 1 hour." The village of Chandrapur existed in a fold of time that modern India seemed to have gently passed by. Nestled between the foothills and river plains, it relied on the rhythms of planting and harvest, monsoon and dry season. What the villagers lacked in material wealth, they made up for in the currency of interdependence, a barter system of favors, skills, and time that Rohit seemed to be perpetually depositing into. 50 kilometers away, in an air-conditioned boardroom in Bhopal, Ananya Sharma closed her laptop with a satisfied click. At 29, she had built Nourish Foods into a successful organic food delivery company that connected urban professionals with farm-fresh produce. The daughter of a real estate tycoon, she'd surprised everyone by declining to join her father's business, instead pursuing her passion for sustainable food systems. "The quarter's numbers are excellent," she announced to her team. "We're expanding into 2 new cities next month." Later that evening, as Ananya packed a small suitcase, her phone rang. It was her father, Vikram Sharma. "So you're really going?" "To visit that old house?" he asked, not hiding his disdain. "Your grandmother's place hasn't been properly inhabited for years. Just sell the property, Beta. That land could be valuable someday. Dottie wanted me to see it once more before I decide," Ananya replied, tucking a photo of her late grandmother into the suitcase. "Besides, I need to understand where our food comes from if I'm going to keep building this business." The following morning found Ananya navigating her silver SUV down increasingly narrow roads. The GPS signal flickered and died as she entered Chandrapur district, leaving her relying on handwritten directions. When the engine began making an alarming grinding noise, followed by plumes of steam, Ananya pulled over beside a vast expanse of emerald green rice fields. "Perfect timing," she muttered, stepping out into humidity that immediately plastered her designer blouse to her skin. Cell service showed a disheartening "no network" message. After 20 minutes of waiting hopelessly for another vehicle to pass, Ananya spotted a figure walking along the raised path between the fields. A man in a simple white kurta and mud-stained pants approached, carrying farming tools over his shoulder. "Car trouble?" Rohit asked in Hindi, keeping a respectful distance. "Yes," Ananya replied, switching from English. "It just stopped working. Do you know of any mechanics nearby?" Rohit studied the vehicle. "There's Pramod in the village, but he mostly fixes tractors and water pumps. Your car is—" He gestured at its sleek design. "More complicated." "Great," Ananya sighed, looking at her watch. "And how far is Chandrapur village from here?" "This is Chandrapur," Rohit smiled, gesturing to the fields around them. "The houses are about 2 kilometers that way. You're visiting?" "My grandmother's house, the old Sharma place." Recognition dawned on Rohit's face. "Kamala Devi's granddaughter? She spoke of you often." The connection caught Ananya off guard. This stranger knew her grandmother, while she had visited only a handful of times during childhood summers. "I'm Rohit," he said, setting down his tools. "Let me help you with your car first. Then I can show you to your grandmother's house. The summer heat is not kind to visitors." As Rohit examined the steaming engine with surprising knowledge, Ananya observed him, his methodical movements, the gentle way he handled even mechanical parts, the quiet confidence that seemed to require No validation. Your radiator hose has split, he finally announced. I can arrange for a temporary fix to get you to the village, but you'll need a replacement part from Bhopal. How long will that take? Ananya asked, calculating delays to her schedule. Rohit looked up at the sky as if consulting with the sun. If we send someone tomorrow morning, perhaps by evening. He reached for his water bottle, offering it to her first. Until then, Chandrapur will have to be your home. Little did Ananya know that this breakdown would be the first of many unexpected detours, ones that would lead her not just to her grandmother's house, but to questions about what made a life truly rich. Worlds apart, the Sharma house stood at the village's edge, a two-story structure of faded grandeur with wooden shutters and a wraparound veranda. Unlike the modest homes clustered in the village center, it occupied its own compound, surrounded by mango trees and overgrown jasmine. The caretaker, Lakshmi, comes by weekly, Rohit explained as he helped Ananya with her luggage. But no one has truly lived here since your grandmother moved to the city with your parents. Ananya ran her fingers along the weathered banister. I have fragments of memories here. Summer afternoons, the scent of cardamom chai, Dadi telling stories on this veranda. She was the village's historian, Rohit said with reverence. When she left, she took our stories with her. After ensuring Ananya was settled, Rohit excused himself. I should check on Sunitaji's cow. If you need anything, most people know where to find me. Left alone in the echoing house, Ananya opened windows to release years of stillness. Her phone still showed no service, and the electricity flickered unpredictably. By evening, she found herself sitting on the veranda steps, watching as the village transformed in the golden hour. Children played cricket in an open area, women gathered at the communal water pump, and farmers returned from fields. There was a choreography to it all, an interdependence that felt foreign to her compartmentalized urban life. Her stomach growled, reminding her that her protein bars wouldn't sustain her for long. As if reading her thoughts, a young girl approached the gate, carrying a covered steel container. Namaste, Didi. My brother Rohit sent this for you, she said shyly. It's dal, rice, and vegetables from our home. You must be Rohit's sister, Ananya smiled, accepting the warm container. Thank you. What's your name? Priya, the girl replied. Rohit said you're Kamala Dadi's granddaughter. She used to help me with my studies. The food was simple but delicious, cooked with expertise that put Ananya's occasional kitchen experiments to shame. After eating, she wandered toward the village center, drawn by the sounds of conversation and laughter. She found Rohit seated under the sprawling banyan tree, surrounded by villagers of all ages. An elderly man was speaking animatedly about water conservation techniques, while others listened intently. This is our evening panchayat, Rohit explained when he spotted her. Not official government business, just our way of solving problems together. Ananya sat at the gathering's edge, observing how Rohit guided discussions without dominating them, how he drew out quieter voices, how solutions emerged through collective wisdom rather than authority. Later, walking back toward her grandmother's house, Ananya commented, You seem to be the village's unofficial leader? Rohit laughed, embarrassed. I just connect people to each other. Everyone here has something to contribute. In my world, Ananya said, leadership means having the biggest office and making unilateral decisions. And is it effective? Rohit asked without judgment. The question lingered with her through the night. The next morning, Ananya woke to roosters and temple bells rather than her usual alarm. She found Rohit already at work in what had once been her grandmother's garden, clearing weeds and turning soil. You don't need to do that, she protested. Your grandmother loved these tulsi and rose plants, he replied simply. It would be a shame to let them disappear. On impulse, Ananya knelt beside him, her designer jeans soon smudged with soil. Show me how to help. By midday, her hands were filthy, her back ached, and she felt strangely satisfied watching the garden emerge from neglect. When Rohit's sister Priya brought them chai, Ananya realized she hadn't checked her phone in hours. Your car part should arrive by evening, Rohit mentioned. Pramod's nephew has gone to Bhopal to fetch it. Ananya felt an unexpected twinge of disappointment. I should at least see the village properly before I leave. Rohit became her guide, showing her the ancient stone temple, the school where children recited lessons in sing-song voices, the weekly market where farmers displayed humble harvests with immense pride. Your company, Nourish Foods, what does it do? Rohit asked as they walked. Ananya explained her business model of connecting farmers with urban consumers, eliminating middlemen for fairer prices. But you don't work directly with the farmers? Rohit asked. We have procurement managers for that, she admitted. I handle strategy, marketing, investment. Rohit nodded thoughtfully. You know, Chandrapur's vegetables are exceptionally flavorful because of our soil composition. Have you tasted our spinach? The conversation shifted, but Ananya caught what remained unspoken: the distance between her business's mission and her own disconnection from its foundation. That evening, Ananya's phone suddenly chimed with delayed notifications, dozens of emails, missed calls, and messages from her executive team and family. Network's back, she explained to Rohit, who had come to inform her about her car. While Rohit spoke with Pramod about the repairs, Ananya took an urgent video call from her father and brother. Ananya, where have you been? Her father demanded. The Peterson Group is interested in acquiring a significant stake in Nourish Foods. This could triple your valuation. Her brother Arjun added, they want to scale your model nationally, then into Southeast Asia. But they need an answer by next week. That's incredible, Ananya responded, her mind racing with possibilities and complications. After ending the call, she found Rohit waiting respectfully at a distance. Good news? He asked, noting her expression. Potentially life-changing, she replied. A major investment opportunity. Rohit smiled genuinely. Congratulations. My car? She asked, suddenly eager to return to familiar territory where she understood the rules and expectations. Pramod says it needs one more day, Rohit replied apologetically. The part wasn't exactly right. That night, Ananya sat on the veranda, her laptop illuminating her face as she reviewed the Peterson Group's preliminary offer. The figures were staggering, enough wealth to secure her future indefinitely. From somewhere in the village came the sound of singing, voices harmonizing in a folk song about harvest and gratitude. Ananya closed her laptop and listened, feeling the strange pull of two entirely different worlds, one promising expansion and achievement, the other offering something she couldn't quite name but increasingly found herself craving. The harvest of Truth Dawn broke over Chandrapur with a symphony of bird song and temple bells. Ananya woke early, surprised by how quickly her body had adjusted to the village rhythm. She found herself drawn to the veranda where she sipped her morning tea, watching farmers heading to their fields silhouetted against the orange horizon. Her phone rang. Deepak Khanna, her company's operations director. The Peterson Group is sending their team to our office tomorrow, he informed her, anxiously. They're expecting you to present the 5-year expansion plan personally. I'm still in Chandrapur, Ananya replied. My car should be fixed today. Chandrapur? Deepak sounded puzzled. Ananya, this deal could make us all wealthy beyond imagination. Can't your village vacation wait? The word vacation struck her oddly. Her time here had been anything but leisurely. It had been more like an immersion into a different understanding of living. I'll be back tomorrow, she promised before ending the call. Outside, she noticed a group of children walking with books and backpacks. Without conscious decision, She followed them to the village school, a modest building with peeling blue paint and determined teachers. Through the open windows, she observed a dynamic young woman leading students through mathematics, with resourcefulness that compensated for limited materials. "That's Reshma," came Rohit's voice behind her. "She turned down a teaching position in Bhopal to stay here. Says these children deserve quality education as much as any city kid." "What brings you here?" Ananya asked, noticing he carried a toolkit. "The school pump needs repair again," he replied. "Water access is always our biggest challenge." Ananya followed him to the back of the building where a hand pump stood. "May I watch?" As Rohit disassembled the pump with practiced efficiency, he explained the village's water situation, dependent on the seasonal river and increasingly unpredictable rainfall. "We've been trying to fund a better filtration system, but—" He shrugged. "Your panchayat couldn't approve funding?" Ananya asked. Rohit smiled. "Our wealth is in our hands and hearts, not our bank accounts." The simplicity of his statement struck her with unexpected force. By midday, Ananya found herself accompanying Rohit to a community project, preparing land for a shared vegetable garden. Several villagers were already working, including elderly men whose age hadn't diminished their vigor, and teenage boys learning techniques passed through generations. Without being asked, Ananya joined them, accepting a basic tool from an initially surprised villager. The work was demanding, but she found strange satisfaction in its tangible progress, unlike the abstract metrics that measured her professional success. During a water break, an elderly woman named Basanti approached her. "You look just like Kamala when she was young," she remarked, studying Ananya's face. "Same determined eyes." "You knew my grandmother well?" Ananya asked. "We were like sisters," Basanti nodded. "Before your grandfather's business took them to the city, Kamala was our village's strength. She started our first women's cooperative, 20 women making pickles and papads that sold all the way to Delhi." This revelation surprised Ananya. She never mentioned a business background. "She didn't see it as business," Basanti explained. "She called it solidarity. When one woman's husband fell ill, all earnings went to medicine. When another needed school fees, we covered them. Your grandmother understood that true wealth multiplies when shared." Throughout the afternoon, Ananya collected these stories of her grandmother, a woman very different from the gentle storytelling Dottie she remembered. This Kamala had been a force for community development, a visionary who saw potential where others saw limitation. "Why did she leave?" Ananya finally asked Rohit as they walked from the community garden. "Your grandfather's business was growing," he replied, "and Chandrapur couldn't provide the education they wanted for your father. But she returned often until her health declined. Her heart remained here." They passed a simple structure with a faded sign reading Kamala Women's Center, another piece of her grandmother's legacy Ananya had never known. That evening, Pramod the mechanic finally delivered Ananya's repaired car, apologizing for the delay. "Parts for such fancy vehicles are difficult," he explained, "but it's ready now." Ananya thanked him generously, then turned to Rohit. "Would you and your family join me for dinner? At my grandmother's house? It's my last night here." Rohit arrived with Priya and his parents, his father walking slowly with a cane, his mother bringing homemade sweets. Despite Ananya's insistence they needn't bring anything. They ate together on the veranda, sharing stories that gradually filled gaps in Ananya's understanding of her grandmother and the village. Rohit's father had been the school headmaster before his stroke, his mother a skilled herbalist. Priya spoke of her dream to become a doctor and serve rural communities. "Is that possible from here?" Ananya asked gently. "The odds are against her," Rohit acknowledged with quiet determination. "But we're saving for her to attend coaching in Bhopal, one day at a time." After dinner, as Rohit's parents rested, Ananya showed Priya her laptop. The girl's quick intelligence was evident as she navigated programs with minimal instruction. "You have excellent aptitude," Ananya observed. "Have you considered computer science? The earnings potential is tremendous." "Medicine is my calling," Priya replied simply. "Money isn't everything." From anyone else, this might have sounded like a platitude. But from this family, who lived with such evident purpose despite material constraints, it carried undeniable authenticity. Later, after his family had gone home, Rohit lingered to help clean up. "Your sister is remarkable," Ananya said. "Her determination reminds me of myself at that age." "You still have that determination," Rohit observed, "just with different purpose." Ananya paused, suddenly unsure of what her purpose truly was. "Tomorrow I return to a potential business deal that could make my company extraordinarily valuable." "I hope it brings you what you seek," Rohit said sincerely. "What would you do with substantial money, Rohit?" she asked impulsively. "If you had, say, 1 crore of rupees?" Rohit considered thoughtfully. "The village needs a proper water filtration system. The school needs computers and science equipment. Several families need better housing before monsoon." He spoke not of personal desires, but community needs. As moonlight filtered through the mango trees, Ananya found herself wanting to extend this moment, this brief intersection of their vastly different worlds. There was something about Rohit that challenged her understanding of success and fulfillment. "Will you visit again?" Rohit asked as he prepared to leave. "I think I must," Ananya replied, surprising herself with the certainty in her voice. "There's more I need to understand about this place, about my grandmother's legacy, about what constitutes a life well lived," she added silently. After Rohit left, Ananya sat alone on the veranda steps, just as her grandmother must have done, countless evenings. The investment offer awaited her in Bhopal: expansion, recognition, wealth. Yet here in Chandrapur she had glimpsed something else, a wealth measured not in acquisitions but in connections, not in accumulation but in contribution. As she packed her belongings for the morning departure, Ananya placed her grandmother's photo carefully in her purse rather than her suitcase. Something told her she would need Kamala's wisdom in the days ahead as she navigated between these two conceptions of prosperity. When the storm comes, dark clouds massed on the horizon as Ananya navigated the highway back to Bhopal. The radio warned of an approaching monsoon system, unusually severe and early for the season. Her mind, however, was divided between the weather and the Peterson Group presentation scheduled for tomorrow morning. Her phone rang through the car's speakers. "Ananya, where are you?" her brother Arjun demanded. "The Peterson representatives arrived early and want a preliminary meeting tonight." "I'm, still 2 hours out," she replied, eyeing the blackening sky. "Father's furious. This deal is crucial for all of us. Your company valuation affects family standing. The Malhotras just closed their merger and we can't appear to be falling behind." The familiar pressure of family expectations settled over her. "I'll be there as soon as possible." The first heavy raindrops struck her windshield just as she passed a road sign for Chandrapur district. What began as scattered drops quickly intensified into sheets of water, reducing visibility to mere meters. Ananya slowed, gripping the steering wheel as her wipers struggled against the deluge. Her phone chimed with an emergency alert. "Severe flood warning for Chandrapur and surrounding districts. Seek higher ground immediately." Ananya's thoughts immediately went to Rohit and his family. Their home was near the river basin that historically flooded during heavy monsoons. Without conscious decision, she took the next turn back toward the village. The rural roads had transformed into muddy streams, challenging even her SUV's capabilities. Twice, she nearly hydroplaned into ditches. After an hour of treacherous driving, she reached Chandrapur's outskirts to find the village in emergency mode. People rushed about securing livestock and possessions, while others filled sandbags. Children carried younger siblings to the school building on higher ground. Through the rain, Ananya spotted Rohit directing efforts, his white kurta plastered to his body as he helped an elderly couple evacuate their home. She parked and ran toward him, heedless of the mud claiming her designer shoes. "Ananya?" Rohit's surprise was evident. "Why did you come back?" "I heard about the flood warning," she explained, rain streaming down her face. "I was worried about everyone, your family." Something shifted in his expression, gratitude mixed with newfound respect. "We're moving vulnerable families to the school. The river's rising faster than we've ever seen. How can I help?" Ananya asked without hesitation. For the next hours, Ananya worked alongside villagers, filling sandbags, carrying supplies, and helping evacuate homes nearest the river. Her corporate attire became unrecognizable, her manicured hands blistered from unaccustomed labor. None of it mattered as she witnessed the village's coordinated response. No formal authority giving orders, just individuals recognizing needs and fulfilling them. By nightfall, most villagers had gathered in the school building. Reshma, the teacher, organized children into classrooms, while others distributed food prepared by those with cooking skills. Rohit's mother attended to minor injuries with her herbal remedies, while his father, despite his physical limitations, kept younger children engaged with stories. "Your family's safe?" Ananya asked Rohit when they finally paused for water. "Yes," he nodded. "Priya is helping organize sleeping arrangements, but we've lost contact with neighboring villages. The cell towers must be affected." "My satellite." "Phone in the car," Ananya realized. "For emergencies. We could call for district assistance." Together, they retrieved the device, managing to reach emergency services. The news was sobering. All roads to Chandrapur were cut off, and helicopter evacuation wouldn't be possible until morning at earliest. "We're on our own tonight," Rohit informed the gathered villagers. Rather than panic, they responded with practical solutions, pooling resources, organizing watches, creating comfort for the elderly and children. As midnight approached, a terrifying crack echoed through the darkness. "The river embankment," someone shouted. "It's breached near the western fields." Rohit assembled a team to assess damage and reinforce critical barriers. Without questioning her place, Ananya joined them, wading through knee-deep water to reach threatened areas. What they found was catastrophic. Water rushing toward the village center would soon threaten even the school's foundation. Working by flashlight, they attempted to divert flow with improvised barriers, but the water's force proved overwhelming. "We need to move everyone higher," Rohit decided. "The only safe place is your grandmother's house." The two-story Sharma house stood on the village's highest ground, its solid construction offering sanctuary. Through driving rain, the entire village relocated. The elderly carried on improvised stretchers, children wrapped in whatever dry fabric remained. Livestock herded alongside humans. Ananya flung open every door of her grandmother's house, watching, as rooms filled with villagers seeking refuge. The fine furnishings her family had preserved meant nothing compared to the safety they now provided. In the kitchen, women established communal cooking. The formal dining room became a medical area, for Rohit's mother to treat exposure and minor injuries. Children huddled in bedrooms, while men organized watches from the veranda to monitor water levels. Near dawn, exhaustion finally caught Ananya. She found herself sitting on the stairs beside Rohit, both of them soaked and mud-covered. "Your business. Meeting," Rohit suddenly remembered. "It's today, isn't it?" The Peterson Group presentation had completely vanished from Ananya's mind. She checked her phone. Multiple missed calls from her father, brother, and executives. "Yes," she admitted, "a potentially life-changing investment deal." "You should try to reach them," Rohit said. "Explain the situation." When she finally connected with her brother, his reaction was predictable. "Are you insane?" Arjun shouted. "The Peterson team is waiting. Father's had to make excuses. Get to Bhopal immediately." "There's a natural disaster happening," Ananya explained. "The village is cut off. People would have died without shelter. What people? Village strangers? Ananya, this is your future, our family's reputation. From her position on the stairs, Ananya could see into the main room where families huddled together, not in despair, but in mutual support. Rohit's sister Priya read stories to younger children. An elderly man taught teenagers to repair damaged tools. People with almost nothing willingly shared what little they had. "These aren't strangers," Ananya replied quietly, "and I'm exactly where I need to be." She ended the call despite Arjun's continuing protests. "Your family's upset," Rohit observed, having overheard. "They measure success differently than I'm beginning to," she replied. As morning light filtered through relentless rain, they received radio reports that governmental rescue teams were mobilizing but prioritizing larger communities. Smaller villages like Chandrapur would wait days for official help. Ananya made a decision. Using her company contacts and personal credit, she arranged for private helicopter delivery of essential supplies, medicine, clean water, food, blankets, scheduled to arrive by afternoon. When she announced this to the gathered villagers, their gratitude was overwhelming, though no one treated her as a wealthy savior. Instead, they immediately formed committees to ensure fair distribution of incoming resources, focusing first on children and the elderly. By midday, the rain finally slackened, though the floodwaters remained high. From the veranda, Ananya and Rohit surveyed the damage. Fields submerged, homes partially collapsed, roads transformed into rivers. "The crops are lost," Rohit said quietly. "An entire season's work." Yet even in this devastating assessment, he showed no self-pity. Already he was planning recovery, which fields might drain first, how to salvage building materials, where to find seeds for replanting. When the supply helicopter arrived, hovering above the house, villagers organized a human chain to unload and distribute provisions. Ananya worked alongside them, no longer conscious of her corporate identity or family expectations. As evening approached, she received another call, this time from Deepak, her operations director. "The Peterson Group is withdrawing their offer," he informed her grimly. "They've gone with our competitor. Your father is—" He hesitated, extremely disappointed. Ananya absorbed this news with surprising calm. "Deepak, I want you to redirect our emergency fund to flood relief and prepare a proposal for a new initiative, Nourish Communities." "What?" He sounded bewildered. "We've been thinking too small," she explained, watching as villagers transformed her grandmother's house into a functioning community center. "I'll explain when I return. For now, just know that our company's future has become much clearer to me." As she ended the call, Ananya found Rohit distributing blankets to families preparing for another night of displacement. "Your business deal?" he asked, noticing her expression. "Gone," she admitted. "But something more important has taken its place." For the first time since the crisis began, Rohit's composure briefly faltered. "I'm sorry. I know it mattered to you." "It did," Ananya acknowledged. "But I'm beginning to understand what my grandmother knew, that wealth takes many forms, and some are far more valuable than others." As night fell again over the flooded village, Ananya found herself surrounded not by corporate executives or family expectations, but by a community demonstrating resilience through connection. In the face of disaster, these people with so little, material wealth had revealed themselves to be extraordinarily rich in ways she was only beginning to comprehend. And somehow, standing among them covered in mud and deprived of all the trappings of her privileged life, Ananya felt wealthier than she ever had in her polished corporate offices. Rooted together. 3 months after the flood, Chandrapur pulsed with the energy of renewal. Fields that had been submerged now showed tender green shoots. Damaged homes stood partially rebuilt, their new walls rising alongside the old. The village bore scars of the disaster, yet demonstrated the remarkable resilience of places deeply rooted in community. Ananya's grandmother's house had transformed as well. The formal dining room now housed computers where village children received digital literacy training. The sprawling garden had been replanted with both flowers and vegetables, tended by a rotating group of village women. The veranda hosted evening literacy classes for adults who worked the fields during daylight hours. Ananya herself had changed most profoundly. Today she stood in what had once been her grandmother's study, now converted to an office with solar-powered internet connectivity. Her corporate attire had given way to practical kurtas and comfortable jeans, though she maintained her executive demeanor when leading the video conference currently on her screen. "The Chandrapur model is exceeding our projections," she explained to her executive team in Bhopal. "We've established direct relationships with farmers in 5 surrounding villages, providing guaranteed purchase agreements and cutting supply chain inefficiencies by 40%. Deepak, visible in the corner of the screen, nodded approvingly. "Our urban customers are responding positively to the community reinvestment narrative. Customer retention is up 12%. And the processing center construction?" Ananya asked. "On schedule," another executive confirmed. "Local hiring begins next week." After concluding the meeting, Ananya stepped onto the veranda where Rohit waited, reviewing plans for an irrigation system designed to withstand future floods. "How was your meeting?" he asked, looking up with the smile that had become wonderfully familiar to her. "Nourish Communities is officially profitable in its first quarter," she replied, sitting beside him. "The board has approved expansion to 3 more districts." The transformation of her business had been as challenging as it was rewarding. After the flood, Ananya had returned briefly to Bhopal to face her furious father and skeptical executives. Her proposal to relocate company headquarters to Chandrapur and refocus on community-based agricultural development had met fierce resistance. "You're throwing away everything we've built," her father had argued. "This village charity project will bankrupt you within a year." Her brother had been even more cutting. "This farmer has bewitched you. You've lost all business sense." Yet Ananya had stood firm, eventually convincing key investors that ethical business practices and community investment represented the future of sustainable enterprise. Those who couldn't embrace her vision had departed, including, painfully, her father and brother, who sold their shares and distanced themselves from her rural experiment. "Your parents called this morning," Ananya told Rohit now. "They've approved the final designs for their new home." The flood had claimed Rohit's family home entirely. They currently occupied rooms in the Sharma house, while their new residence, stronger, better designed against future disasters, rose at the village's edge. "Priya's acceptance letter arrived today," Rohit said, his pride evident. "Full scholarship to the medical program in Pune." "That's wonderful," Ananya exclaimed. Priya's extraordinary potential had been recognized by the scholarship committee Ananya had connected her with. The girl's dream of becoming a doctor who would serve rural communities was becoming reality. Together, they walked through the village to inspect ongoing recovery projects. Villagers greeted Ananya with the same casual familiarity they showed Rohit. She was no longer viewed as an outsider or wealthy benefactor, but as someone who had chosen to become part of their community. They passed the newly rebuilt school, where Reshma now taught computer classes alongside traditional subjects. The Women's Center, renamed for Kamala Devi, housed a microfinance program supporting small enterprises from pickle making to handloom textiles. "The Peterson Group contacted me again," Ananya mentioned as they inspected a new well installation. "They're interested in our community-based model now that it's proving successful." "Will you consider their investment?" Rohit asked. "On our terms, perhaps," she replied, "if they accept that profit isn't our only measure of success." At the river's edge, they paused to observe the strengthened embankments created after the flood. The water flowed peacefully now, giving no hint of its destructive potential. "Sometimes I still can't believe you stayed," Rohit said quietly. "You had everything in Bhopal." "Did I?" Ananya considered. "I had comfort and status, certainly. But purpose? Connection? The satisfaction of seeing direct impact? Those I found here." Their relationship had evolved gradually, naturally, beginning with mutual respect during the crisis, developing through shared work during recovery, and blossoming into deeper attachment as they rebuilt not just the village but their understanding of what constituted meaningful existence. "My father still believes I've lost my mind," Ananya laughed softly. "Abandoning a lucrative corporate path to live in a village with a farmer." "Am I still just a farmer to you?" Rohit asked with gentle humor. Ananya studied him, this man whose wealth existed not in bank accounts, but in the respect of his community, whose intelligence manifested not in degrees, but in practical problem-solving, whose strength showed not in domination, but in service. "You're the richest man I've ever known," she answered honestly. That evening, the village gathered under the banyan tree for a celebration. Strings of solar-powered lights illuminated faces both familiar and new, representatives from neighboring villages, government officials finally recognizing Chandrapur's innovative approach to rural development, journalists documenting the community's transformation. The occasion honored multiple achievements: the completed reconstruction of the school, Priya's scholarship, the Women's Center's first successful funding cycle, and the groundbreaking for the agricultural processing facility that would employ 30 villagers. Basanti, the elderly woman who had been Ananya's grandmother's friend, approached with a small wooden box. "Kamala would have wanted you to have this tonight," she said, pressing it into Ananya's hands. Inside lay a simple silver chain with a pendant, a small seed encased in clear resin. "Your grandmother kept the first seed from our women's collective farming project," Basanti explained. "She said true wealth grows from small beginnings, properly nourished." Ananya fastened the necklace with trembling fingers. She felt her grandmother's presence strongly, as though Kamala's life had contained the blueprint for her own journey, from the city back to this village, from conventional success to more meaningful prosperity. After shared meals and music, Ananya and Rohit slipped away from the celebration, walking to the small hill overlooking both the village and the distant lights of the highway that connected Chandrapur to the wider world. "I received an invitation today," Rohit said. "The Agricultural Ministry wants me to present our flood-resistant farming techniques at a national conference." "That's wonderful recognition," Ananya replied. "Will you go?" "I thought perhaps we might go together," he suggested. "Your business perspective alongside my practical experience. We seem to make a good team." "The best team," Ananya agreed, taking his hand. They stood in comfortable silence, watching as celebration lights twinkled below like earthbound stars. The contrast was striking. 3 months ago, those same points of light had been reflections in floodwater, uncertainty shadowing every moment. Now they represented hard-won stability, community strength, and shared purpose. "When I first arrived here with my broken-down car, I thought I knew exactly what success looked like," Ananya reflected. "A prestigious investment deal, expansion into new markets, recognition from my father and peers." "And now?" Rohit asked. Ananya gestured toward the village. "Success is Priya going to medical school knowing she has a community supporting her. It's farmers receiving fair compensation for their work. It's elderly villagers having security and purpose. It's sustainable systems that benefit everyone, not just shareholders." The breeze carried music from the celebration, traditional folk, songs blending with more contemporary melodies, much like Chandrapur itself had begun blending traditional wisdom with modern innovation. "Your grandmother's house has become exactly what she intended," Rohit observed. "A place where different worlds connect." "Our house," Ananya corrected gently, and our different worlds. Her phone chimed, an email notification from her executive team about quarterly projections. Simultaneously, a village child called for Rohit from the pathway below, needing his expertise with a community project. They shared a knowing smile at this perfect illustration of their dual responsibilities. Neither world had been abandoned. Instead, they had created something new at the intersection, a life that honored both progress and tradition, innovation and wisdom, individual achievement and community well-being. As they walked back toward the village together, Ananya's hand in Rohit's, she touched her grandmother's pendant thoughtfully. The seed encased in resin symbolized perfectly what she had discovered in Chandrapur, that true wealth wasn't measured in acquisitions or accolades, but in rootedness, in contribution, in creating systems where prosperity was shared rather than hoarded. The humble farmer and the corporate executive had found common ground, quite literally in the soil of Chandrapur, where different forms of wealth combined to create something far greater than either could have achieved alone. And in this unlikely convergence of worlds, both Ananya and Rohit had discovered the most valuable resource of all, a life of authentic purpose, deeply rooted in connection, yet continually growing toward new possibilities, the truest wealth any human could possess.